Good morning. Welcome to our sports betting top picks and plays for college basketball. My name's Abby. Thank you for joining me. We just got a few games here to go over today on February the 7th on Friday. We're going to start off with VCU at Dayton. VCU's -2, totals 139.5. Right now, we're presently looking at -1. So it's -1 here. Dayton favored by 1. And the total is 139.5. That's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing some 138.5 as well, but it's mainly 139. So we're looking into this one. Look at this one further. Let's see. Take a deep dive into this one. Yes, so Dayton is favored as of now. Public money public money is on VCU at this point. So far it's on VCU. They're getting the public money right now. And the total again 139.5. So we'll look into this further. And if you're wondering where we're getting this information from, it's here at oddslogic.com. This does have the latest information on the injury report, the up-to-the-minute line moves for the spread, up-to-the-minute moves for the total, the over-unders.com. So we'll look into this game further. We'll check out this this matchup. We'll get into this one. VCU Dayton, number 22 Dayton. Okay, this is the first meeting of the season. VCU right now 8-2 last 10 games, 7-3 against the spread, 7-3 to the over. So Dayton's won VCU's won 2 straight games, all at home. They're 4-1 last 5 games, and are 4-1 to the over. So Dayton's won 2 straight games, covered 2 straight. Now they're an underdog at Dayton. They haven't won. They're basically right now 3-2 on the road so far this season. And this is the first time VCU is an underdog. They have not been an underdog yet. They've been a favorite. On the Dayton side, for Dayton, 6-4 last 10, 3-7 against the spread, 6-4 to the over. Dayton's also won 2 straight games. They're 4-1 last 5 games. However, they are 2-3 to the under. Series between these two teams. 1-4 to the under the last 5 games. So mainly it's been an under series. It's 139 now. This is a tricky game. Let me see. Dayton by 1. They're 1-point favorites, 139. Yeah, the total is still at 139. And Dayton's favorite. See, there, Dayton's at home. Oh. This is a tricky game. Let's see. I don't have a play on this game. Unfortunately, I have no play on this game. This game's going to be a pass. It's a very, very tricky game here. A lot of uncertainties for me in terms of the line movements. VCU is favored. Now all of a sudden, Dayton's favored. And then some books have VCU favored by 1. Dayton's its consensus is 1 Dayton, but still other books still have 1. Although the majority of the books have Dayton favored. There's just a lot of uncertainty, a lot of unknowns for the total and the spread. So there's no real correlation for me to back any sides or totals for this game. So I'm gonna pass. it's a complete pass, this game. The next game for me to look at, Princeton at Pennsylvania. This one's 6.5 Princeton, total 144. Right now we're looking at 7.5 are coming up, and it's 145.5. And we're seeing 145.5. That's the major consensus. Let's see. Yep. That's what we're basically seeing here. So look into this one. And the total's 145 from 144. Yeah, 145. 145. See, a 145.5. It's the Princeton one. Let's take a look here. That's Princeton, Pennsylvania. So look at this game here. Look at the matchups in this one. So this game here, this is the first meeting of the season. Princeton's 10-0, last 10 games. 2-7 against the spread, 3-6 to the under. Princeton 3-2 last 5 games. And 2-3 to the under the last 5 games. So Princeton a favorite. So we're looking to, so that's the Princeton side. The Pennsylvania side, 3-7 last 10, 6-4 against the spread, 8-2 to the over. So 5-0 to the over, Princeton the last 5 games, and our 2-3 last 5 games. That's Pennsylvania. So Pennsylvania at home. Princeton's dominated the series. They've dominated the series. Let me see here. Let's see. Okay, so look into this further. We'll check this game out. Look into this further. Do a bit of history here. Look at it further. Princeton favored. Yeah, this game, the only way to play this game for me, I'd have to play the over. Over 144.5. So like I said earlier, we are seeing, we are seeing in this game, it's 144, it's 145 now. 145.5. Yeah, the only way to go about this game, in my opinion, I have to take the over. Now Pennsylvania has gone over in 5 straight games. 5 straight overs for Pennsylvania. I understand that Princeton, they're playing to the under in this game, but when these teams have played each other, they have gone over the total in 3 straight meetings. 3 straight meetings they've gone over the total in the past meetings. And Pennsylvania right now is 5-0 to the over. 3 of those overs at home, 1 on the road. Or 4 of those overs at home, 1 on the road. And Princeton, they've gone over the total 2 on the road as well, although they've played most of their games so far at home. So I got to take the over 144.5, 145. That's the play for me in this game. Princeton, Pennsylvania. Next game is USC at Purdue. 14.5 Purdue, the total's 147. Right now we're seeing it's come back down to 13.5. We're seeing 13.5. And the total is right now 146.5. So we'll look into this one further. This is probably the first meeting of this that they've ever played, I'm guessing. But it's come down to 13. Yeah, it's come down now. Which is interesting. So look into this one further. USC. This is a non-conference game. USC at Purdue. Yeah, this is the first ever meeting between these two teams. USC 5-5 last 10 games, 6-4 against the spread, 8-2 to the over. USC, they have flip-flop wins and losses. They are 2-3 last 5 games and are 4-1 to the over. Purdue 9-1 last 10 games, 8-2 against the spread, 7-3 to the over. Purdue's won 3 straight games. They've covered 2 out of 3 games. They're 4-1 in the last 5. And they are 4-1 to the over. So both teams are 4-1 to the over. Let's see. So USC as a dog, they've covered three of the last 4 games. They've covered as an underdog. They have covered, which is impressive. They've covered at Nebraska. They've covered at Northwestern, and Illinois. They covered at Illinois too. So they've covered at some big places here. These are all Big Ten schools: Illinois, Nebraska, Northwestern, Big Ten. So they've covered. They have covered on the road. Now they're, like I said, they're in Purdue. Got to play Purdue. In this case here, yeah, Purdue hasn't covered any double-digit spreads. They covered Nebraska at home. They didn't cover. They were a double-digit favorite against Ohio State, and Ohio State gave them a run for their money. They didn't cover against Indiana as a double-digit favorite. So I got to take USC. Until Purdue can prove they can cover as a double-digit favorite of 10 or more points, 9.5 or 10 or more points, I got to take USC. USC, they've proven that they can cover in big venues. Like I said, they've covered at Northwestern 3.5, Nebraska 7. When they're 7-point dogs, covered at Illinois plus 12.5. So they've covered at some big venues as a double-digit favorite and close to double-digit favorites. So I like USC here to end the points. Plus 13.5. I think that's what it is right now. 13.5, 14. I like USC here. In terms of the total, both teams are trending 4-1 to the over. USC, when they're on the road, they have gone over the total on the road in covering these big spreads. So I got to take the over. I like the over here. They have covered the spreads. When they've covered the spreads on the road against the Big Ten schools, those games have gone over the total in all those games. Northwestern, with the total of 138, they were a 3.5-point dog. It went over. At Nebraska, they were a 7-point underdog. Total was 144.5. It went over. Illinois, 12.5-point dog. Total was a 153.5. They covered it and went over the total. So I like the over as well. Plus 13.5. I like over 144.5, 145. I like that game. Next game here. St. John's at Connecticut. -2 Connecticut, total 141. Right now we're seeing 3.5 and we're about to go to 4. And it is 141.5. We're seeing 142s. Let's see. I do have a play on this one as well. A play that I like. Let's see. Yeah, I have a play on this game here. Yeah, I got a play on this game, and yeah, I have a play on this game. So we'll look into this game further. That's St. John's in Connecticut. So look at the head-to-head. I don't know if they've played this season already as yet, or this is probably the first meeting this season. Let's look into that. Number 12, St. John's. Number 19, Connecticut. Yeah, this is the first meeting this season. St. John's 9-1 last 10 games. St. John's, 9 straight wins for St. John's. 6-3 and 1 against the spread. 3-7 to the under. 1-4 last 5 games. St. John's to the under. Five out of the 9 games, St. John's has covered 5 out of 9 games as a favorite, but as an underdog, St. John's, they covered once at Xavier. They pushed at Creighton as a 1-point favorite, as a 1-point underdog. Sorry. Yeah, they haven't been a dog that much, but when they have, they're 1-0-1 as a dog so far. Connecticut. 7-3 last 10, 3-7 against the spread, 6-4 to the over. Connecticut's won 2 straight games. They're 3-2 last 5, and are 3-2 to the over. 3-2 to the over. St. John's 1-4 to the under. 2 straight, Connecticut. Yeah, the way I gotta play this game, it's gonna be, I like Connecticut here at 3.5. I think Connecticut wins this game 3.5. It's gone to 4 now. So if you like Connecticut like myself, you take the 3.5. And yeah, let's take the 3.5. I would take that. Connecticut minus 3.5. I think they covered and win this game here. 3.5 minus 4. I like that. I wouldn't go past if it's going to go to 4.5. I wouldn't touch it any longer. I would leave it alone if it goes to 4.5. Just take it up to 4, minus 4, 3.5 Connecticut. Just take that. Aside for the total, no play on the total. I just like the spread. That's it. Yeah, I like Connecticut here. Seems like the line's moving in the right direction too in this game. But I do like Connecticut here. Next game, St. Louis at St. Joseph's. St. Joseph's 5.5 the total. I'm sorry, 5.5 the spread. Excuse me. St. Joseph's at a home, total 144. We're seeing 6s come up on the board, and it is 145.5. Yeah, I may be seeing a 6.5. I even saw a 6.5 come up. That's St. Joe's at St. Joe's at home versus St. Louis. So we're gonna look into this game further. So St. Joe's, St. Louis. So they did play a month ago. That was January 3rd, a month ago in St. Louis. St. Louis is a 2.5-point favorite. Total is 152. St. Louis covered and won that game 73-57 and was under 152. So since then, St. Louis last 5 games for St. Louis. Or sorry, last 10 games. 7-3 last 10. 6-4 against the spread. 1-9 to the under. 3-2 to the under. Actually, 1-4 to the under St. Louis. And 3-2 last 5 games. As for St. Joe's, it's 5-5 last 10, 2-8 against the spread, 6-4 to the over. So St. Joe's at home, and they usually flip-flop wins and losses. So in this case here, 2-3 last 5, 3-2 to the over. So let's look at this one here. St. Joe's a 6.5-point favorite. The only major win here was against Chicago, Illinois, as 5.5-point favorites. That was a month ago. But since then, they have failed to cover in 3 straight games. And we're talking about at home. This is home games. So they didn't cover against Duquesne at -9. Let's look at St. Louis. 6.5, huh? Yeah, this is too much. 6.5 is a little too much. Let me see. And this one's in St. Joe's. Yeah, I gotta look at St. Louis here. St. Louis on the points for me. The thing with this game is, until St. Joe's can prove that they can cover these types of spreads in this range. I know they covered Illinois at the 5.5 at home, but until they can prove that they can cover consistently at home on a big spread, this is 6.5. I don't, because the last 2 games they haven't looked good covering. -9.5 this game they didn't cover. On the road, -1.5 at Chicago, Illinois, they didn't cover. So the last 2 games are a little bit concerning for me with St. Joe's. I know they flip-flop wins, losses. Yeah, I just don't trust them here. I don't trust St. Joe's. The last 2 games were concerning. They haven't really covered the spread at that -9 range, 1.5 range, last 2 games. For St. Louis, I do like them here. I know they cover VCU as a dog at home. They're on the road now. I trust St. Louis a little bit more. I trust them a little bit more here. They're a rare underdog. They haven't been a dog too much. I know VCU, they didn't cover at VCU. I understand that, but that was almost a month ago. They've played better since then. Since that VCU, they played a little bit better. They're 4-2 actually in 6 games, so they're playing a little bit better to me. Yeah, I gotta look at the under here. I got to take St. Louis plus the 6.5. I know the number's gone up and up and up. It went from 6 to all the way. Actually, let me see. It opened up at 5.5 and went all the way to 6.5. I gotta take St. Louis here. St. Louis plus 6.5 for me. I don't trust St. Joe's here, like I said. I'm gonna take, but the total, I'm not touching the total. I'm leaving that alone. Next game here, Boise State at home versus San Jose State. Open up -14, total 141. Right now we're looking at 14.5. It's 141.5. Well, it hasn't really done anything much. Yeah, it hasn't really done anything too much. Let's see, nothing, hasn't done anything. Still the same, yeah, it's 14.5, 141. Let's look into this game further. Let's look at this matchup. Yeah, so they did play already. They played towards the end of last year. The end of the year last year they played. That was December 28th. This was at San Jose State. Boise was an 8.5-point favorite. And the total is 142. So San Jose State covered, but Boise only won by 2 points, 73-71, and it went over 142. So this is the second game of this series. Right now, San Jose 5-5 last 10 games against other opposition, 8-1-1. against the spread and 6-4 to the over. San Jose State's won 2 straight games, one on the road, one at home. Yeah, they've won 2 straight, and they are 4-1 to the over. Boise State 6-4 last 10, 7-3 against the spread, 5-5 over under. Boise's won 3 straight games, 2 at home and 1 on the road, and they are 1-4 to the under. This game's in Boise. Let's take a look at this one. Okay, so I have a play on this game for sure. I have a good play. I have a good solid play on this one. Yes, I have a play on this game. So I do like San Jose State here. The number, like I said, it's at 14.5. Hasn't really moved. So I like San Jose State for 2 reasons. Number one, San Jose State, they have proven to cover spreads in big venues as an underdog. They covered plus 14 at San Diego State, January the 28th. They did cover there a week ago. Covered at Nevada, January 18th as a 13.5 point underdog. So they've covered and these are 2 tough Mountain West venues and arenas to play in. It's tough ones, very tough. Then they covered at UNLV as a 10.5 point favorite. So they have covered the spread in 3 big venues in the Mountain West. Boise, I know they have covered with big wins, 19.5 point win at home against Fresno State, the 7.5 point win, or a 7.5 point cover versus Nevada. They've covered Wyoming too. But the thing is, San Jose State covered as well. They had their 8.5 point underdogs, and then they covered as an 8.5 point underdog. So they have played. San Jose State has played Boise State pretty tight. Now, the third reason why I do like San Jose State, this is a sandwich spot for Boise State. This is a sandwich spot for them. So, to me, they're looking ahead to the game against San Diego State. This is on February 15th. So they're looking ahead to that game instead. So their focus won't be 100% there, in my opinion. I think this is a look-ahead spot for Boise State against San Jose State. So that's the reason why I'm taking San Jose State plus 14.5. I like this spot. It's a very, very good spot. I like it a lot. I'll be on that today. The next and final game we have is Utah State on the road at Fresno State. Utah 12.5 point favorites, total 155. Right now, it's still showing here. Let's see. One moment, sorry. Yes, so right now it is still showing at 155.5. I'm not seeing any movement. Let me just double check that. It's 12.5. Let's see. I don't see anything here. 12.5. Yeah, I don't see anything. It's come down to 12. 12.5, 12. It hasn't done much. The total, though, is 154. Now we're seeing 156.5. Mainly 155.5, 156.5, in that range. So look at this carefully. Let's look at this one. This is the last game for today, for the games. Okay, we'll look in this game further. Let's see. So Utah State, and they have played already. They played a month ago. January 4th, they played in Utah State. The spread was 23.5, total 159. Fresno State covered, and Utah State won by 6, 89-83, and went over 159. Yeah, it went over the total, 159. So we have this game here. Utah State 8-2 last 10 games, 3-7 against the spread, 6-4 to the over. Utah State 4-1 last 5 games, and are 3-2 to the over. Fresno State 1-9 last 9 games, 5-4-1 against the spread, 6-4 to the over. So Fresno State, they have lost 5 straight games, 0-5 last 5 games, and are 3-2 to the over. 3-2 to the over. So both teams are playing to the over. 3-2 to the over Utah State, and 3-2 to the over Fresno State. Yeah, so I have a play on this game as well. Let me see. And this too is a look ahead game as well. So I do have a play on this game. I like Fresno State here plus the points. Let me just see where it's at. Let me just verify to make sure if there's any other movement. Yeah, I like him here at plus 12. It's 12.5, gone down to plus 12. I agree with the move. I like Fresno State here. Let's look at this. Let's look at Fresno State here quickly. As a home dog, I know this Fresno State's been covering. They covered as a home dog against New Mexico as a 15-point favorites. Against Nevada, 12.5-point favorites. As a 12.5-point dog, 16.5-point dog. They've covered both times. As a plus 11 dog against Colorado State at home, they've covered. Last game they covered against San Jose State. So they've covered the big spreads, as proven. They've covered the big spreads at home. As a home dog, they've covered. So for that reason, I do like them here to cover. As a big favorite, I like them covering here. Utah State, they haven't really covered as a big favorite on the road. The only big favorite they covered was against Air Force. That was on the road. They didn't cover Wyoming as a 9.5-point favorite on the road. They didn't cover UNLV on the road as a 5.5-point favorite, or San Jose State as a 9.5-point favorite. This is on the road. So that's the second reason why I like Fresno State. They have covered as a home dog. They've played very strong and very well, and they've covered. Second reason why Utah State hasn't proven to have covered double-digit spreads on the road. And the third reason is this is a look-at spot. So Utah State's in a sandwich spot. This is very much a sandwich spot. They do have Colorado State next. This is the next game on the venue for Utah State. They had played them a year ago and lost to these guys. So this is a revenge spot this is a look-at spot for Utah State. So those are the three reasons why I like Fresno State to cover the plus 12 to plus 12.5. I like them here. So this is a justifiable play on the Fresno State side. I like that here. As for the total, I like the over. I like the over as well. It is at, let's verify this. $159. Yeah, I like the. Let's see. Well, the total hasn't really moved much. It's still 154 and a half. It's 154 and a half. Excuse me. Now it's 155 and a half. Only one book has 156 and a half. That's FanDuel. They have 156 and a half. Everybody else is 155 and a half. We're starting to see some 156 at 2 books. So if you like, I like the over. 155.5 is the consensus. Only 2 books have it at 156. So if you like the over, get it right now. Get the 155 now before it gets to 156. Bet the over, and take Utah State plus 12 or 12.5. Utah State. The market's moving in the correct direction, in the right direction. So those are my plays. I like that for the college basketball. And that's it. That's it for the college basketball slate for all the games today. Again, thank you very much for joining me. My name is Abby. Whether you fade or follow, it's up to you. I just look at the games and choose the games how I see fit and what I like. Either way, I hope you cash your ticket, whether you fade or follow the totals and then the spreads that I give. Hope you cash your ticket either way. Good luck. Good luck to you. Stay blessed. Stay humble. Believe in yourself. Peace. See you tomorrow.